Welcome, everyone. I would like to draw your attention to the front, and as we begin today's program, we have a video that's going to kick things off. So please, we ask you to bring your attention forward to the screens and enjoy.
What makes UM a vibrant community for me is because it is a place that welcomes diverse identity of people and perspective, especially within the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. The University of Manitoba is an environment where you can feel safe, whether you're carrying out your studies or you just want to hang out with friends in social settings, it is a safe place for you.
What makes UM a vibrant community for me are the people. It's working with the undergrad and graduate students, which is a joy and a privilege. It's working with colleagues across diverse disciplines and diverse communities. It's those exciting and surprising moments where you have opportunity to collaborate, to spark new ideas and spark new relationships. It's that potential for growth and learning.
For me, a vibrant community is one that encourages, welcomes, and creates the opportunity for everyone to contribute and engage in their own unique way. So this could look like providing directions to someone, or it could look like volunteering your time, sharing your stories and experiences, or even engaging in dialogue and conversations with other members of the community.
What makes UM a vibrant community for me is its diverse environment, where individuals from various backgrounds, lived experiences, and fields are able to use their voice to share their unique perspectives and challenges. This fosters curiosity and brings people together to build strong relationships, share ideas, and engage in meaningful discussions that supports one another's learning and growth. While there's still progress that needs to be made, UM is committed to meaningful inclusion and equity, creating opportunities for innovation, creativity, and adaptability in the pursuit of a kinder world in an ever-evolving landscape.
What makes UM community vibrant for me is because it celebrates diversity. I have gotten the chance to connect with people from all over the world through my studies and my on-campus job. The way the UM community not only embraces our differences but try to provide tools for success accordingly has given me a safe space to grow.
What makes UM a vibrant community for me is an ideal to strive towards. Some of my favorite experiences at the university come from having dialogue and discussion with people that don't share my perspective and don't look at the world the same way that I do. And some of the most impactful work that can be done as a student in reflecting and learning is in challenging the ideas and biases that we have and how other opportunities and perspectives can change them for the better or for the worse. To me, having those perspectives on campus and celebrating them, that allows us not only to see who we are now, but who we can be in the future. What makes UM?
What makes UM?
What makes UM a vibrant
community for you?
Well, good morning and welcome, everyone. I'm Tina Chen, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm the Vice Provost Equity, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the Office of Equity Transformation Townhall. All of us in the office are very happy and pleased that so many members of the UM community join us today. And while I'm supposed to stay to script, I just want to thank so many. I see friends, people I work with on a regular basis, and feel like coming together in community and being with each other for these moments of support are incredibly important in the everyday work that we do. I would also like to thank the ASL interpreters for supporting today's event. We begin by acknowledging the traditional territories on which UM campuses are located. And for this, I draw your attention to the screen behind me, which includes the current UM territorial acknowledgement. But today, as we begin, what I would like to do is to share some personal thoughts on the portion of this that talks about moving forward in a spirit of reconciliation with Indigenous communities. I'm sure, like many of you, I've been sitting with the words of Honorable Maurice Sinclair as we know that he is journeying to the spirit world. And so many of his words are sitting with me this week. He said, quote, "The road we travel is equal in importance to the destination we seek. There are no shortcuts. When it comes to truth and reconciliation, we are forced to go the distance," unquote. For me, this is a critical reminder that how we do the work of reconciliation is of the utmost importance, and that we must be prepared to work with future generations in mind. I'll speak in a moment again, but I thank Christine for reminding us of the importance of the 7 generations as we got ready for today's ceremony. Murray Sinclair also evinced a really important quality, an optimism of the human spirit. He stressed that we need to learn to talk to and about each other with greater respect, and that just as each of us has not always been the way we currently are, nor will we always be this way, so too our systems and institutions will not always be what they have been or what they are now. And that is, institutions can and must change. These insights inform my commitment to reconciliation and transformation on personal, professional, and institutional levels. Taking on the role of Vice Provost Equity has required and will continue to require a level of self-reflection, personal growth, and ongoing consideration of the distinct relationship between reconciliation and the work to advance equity, anti-oppression, diversity, and inclusion. So today, I'm very much reflecting on these relationships that support me as I travel this road. And in particular, I want to thank Christine Sear and Vanessa Lilly. This morning, we began in private ceremony to smudge the space, bringing sage and cedar for positivity and balance, and making sure that we could proceed in a good way. I am always inspired, and I'm going to turn this way so I can actually speak directly to my friends. I'm always inspired by Christine and Vanessa's care for the land and for community, their belief in the capacity for regeneration and healing, and their insistence on honesty and speaking truth to power. Being in relationship that is rooted in a mutual ethics of care with both Christine and Vanessa is key to how I move forward for reconciliation. And so, on the personal element, my commitment to reconciliation is also a commitment to nurturing this valuable relationship. Appreciating the power of relationships to change who we are personally, professionally, and institutionally is also a foundational value of the Office of Equity Transformation. The office commits to reconciliation by locating our work in relation to the past and present impacts of colonialism, including the role of colonialism in the history of the University of Manitoba. From this recognition and knowledge, we work together to address systemic inequities. And we do this work through acts of solidarity that edge us towards decolonization. So as is evident from my reflections stemming from the territorial acknowledgement, in preparing for today's event, I've been reflecting on solidarities, speaking truths, and the relationships that create community. I've also been thinking about the power of listening to the vision that individuals put forward as has committed to cultivating an accessible community rooted in equity, diversity, human dignity, inclusivity, respect, well-being, and care for one another. And as we commit to narrowing systemic inequities, removing barriers, and creating the conditions for all to thrive. And I think we saw that in the video that we began today with. I would like to ask you to join me in thanking the staff, students, and faculty who so thoughtfully spoke in that video about the process, dialogue, and relationships, and what we aspire towards so that we can have a community where all can thrive. And I know some of you are in the room today, and I'm sure it feels slightly awkward to be watching yourself on screen while everyone's around, so I thank you for coming in person today as well as participating in the video. UM's current strategic plan makes fundamental commitments to fostering a vibrant community, for dismantling all forms of racism, and to advancing equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility, all things much easier to say in one sentence than to actually enact. But for these reasons, that's why we are really embracing the ongoing question of what makes UM a vibrant community to you. We know that the answers to what makes the UM a vibrant community are as diverse as the UM community, and that we are only beginning on this path. So I want to also share that for me, a vibrant community is one of collective action, where we center humanity and human dignity, and when we learn and work together to dismantle systems that marginalize, with the goal of making UM a place where all can flourish. So today, our goal is to share how the Office of Equity Transformation and others across the university are doing this work. And so let me just begin by saying I'm so glad to see all of you here, but also this town hall has been a very long time in coming. And the reason I say that is for decades, many members of the community have been leaders for activism, advocacy, research, and teaching in areas like disability justice, human rights, 2S LGBTQIA+, inclusion and rights, anti-racism, and social justice. So many individuals, many of you who are also in this room, have participated in task force, have sat on committees, have been part of consultations, have been part of broader work to identify systemic inequities and make action plans for change. And it's that collective work over decades and generations that is the foundation that we're now building upon. I know we have so much more still to do to address racism, ableism, sexism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, systemic faithism, and multiple forms of hatred, discrimination, and exclusion. And I know many of us, that seems to be sitting particularly heavily today. And this is the hard work that many at U of M do every day. But today we also wanted to pause, because it's important that we take time to recognize and celebrate the work community members are doing and to acknowledge where we are institutionally. So that really tells me to tell you a little bit about that work. The Office of Equity Transformation was created 2 years ago. That's gone very, very quickly in my mind. So, and this was part of the roadmap for meaningful change in the areas of equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. Its formation fulfilled the leadership recommendations of the community-led President's Task Force on Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion that was established in 2019 and chaired by Provost Diane Hebert-Murphy. Unfortunately, Diane can't be here today. She's traveling, but we're thrilled to have a member of the task force with us, with the task force committee member, Samira Masafi Harb, and we'll be representing the task force later. Today, we're also celebrating that the steps taken to implement the recommendations of the EDI task force, including, as we'll get to at the end of the program, lead us to be able to officially declare the task force complete as we've operationalized the work of the into the strategic plan. I would also like to say, though, importantly, this declaration is not about closure. It's not about doing something and moving on, but it's about a transition to a new stage. So with all 58 recommendations now implemented, ongoing, or in process, what we have accomplished is embedding our commitments to action across the university and carved out dedicated institutional space within the Office of Equity Transformation. So that leads me to, so what is this office? That's probably the big question ever asked me. What is that office and what are you doing all day? So people often ask, I think, first about the name. How did we go from having a President's Task Force on EDI to an Office of Equity Transformation? And I would just like to share that a lot of thought went into this, and many names were considered. But let me just start by thinking about equity. The office is driven by a sense or an understanding of equity as being about fairness and justice in both process and results. It requires that we identify systems and practices that exclude and marginalize, and that we address barriers, narrow gaps, and mitigate harms. Transformation, well, that speaks to the need to change the foundation, to go beyond surface changes, to be bold enough to undertake the collective work to dismantle forms of oppression, and to imagine and then work about building new systems that are more equitable. And so put together, equity transformation signals a commitment to action. And so now that I've given you a bit of an information about the kind of overview of the name of the office, we want to turn today to what the Office of Equity Transformation does. And this means the office really operates in 4 broad ways: by leading, by partnering, by supporting, and advising. So for the remainder of the program today, we'll be showcasing examples of what is being done in each of these areas, and you'll hear from people involved in projects or initiatives that fall under each of leading, partnering, supporting, and advising. So to start with, and to give you all a break from me at the podium, I'm really pleased to welcome up to the podium Emily Kalo and Kay Mascu-Connolly, 2 fellows in the Fellows in Equity, Anti-Oppression, and Social Justice program.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kay, and I use she and they pronouns. I am an MBA student focusing on leadership and marketing, at the Asper School of Business, and I'm one of the fellows in Equity, Anti-Oppression, and Social Justice. I've graduated from the University of Manitoba twice from the Faculty of Arts, and I'm back here pursuing another degree because I do feel that I belong to this community. The Fellows Program appealed to me because I was looking for an opportunity to give back in a tangible way, and I wanted this opportunity to share my energy and passion for equity and social justice work with incredible folks who are also creating change in their communities. For me, this opportunity is about building community, it's about expanding my network, and it's about gaining an additional form of leadership experience. The Fellows Program is a 6 to 9 month commitment for both undergraduate and graduate students who are committed to the transformational work that is already underway at the University of Manitoba. Students are placed in different offices across the university, and they work alongside staff and faculty who are engaged in equity work. The program stresses the importance of using an intersectional approach, which honors all aspects of each student's identity. Students are encouraged to self-identify during the application process and are able to share their unique experiences. Volunteer and professional experiences are valued both through the application process and while being a part of the cohort. All of these aspects contribute to creating a sense of psychological safety within the cohort, which fosters community building. Competition for admission into the program can be fierce, as this is such an important work, and Winnipeg is home to a lot of passionate people. Knowing that your colleagues were selected from a large pool of candidates because of their commitment to this work makes it a true honor to walk alongside them. Autonomy is another important aspect of the program. Students help identify their learning objectives and their areas of interest, and they are paired with a program that aligns with their interests and will help them grow. I'm proud to be included in an art project that will enhance representation of 2S LGBTQIA+ folks on campus. Our experiences and our impressions of spaces have a tremendous impact on our feelings of belonging, and I hope that the project I work on will enable folks to feel a sense of belonging within the university community, and will demonstrate that the University of Manitoba is committed to equity and does not welcome hate. My hope is that not only will this cohort's work impact those who access the university, but will also start conversations, encourage introspection and self-reflection, and that it will have the power to create a ripple effect across communities in Manitoba, across Canada, and around the world.
Thank you so much, Kay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Emily, and I'm a fellow member of the cohort along with Kay. And I think Kay did a really good job of articulating just how impactful the structure and nature of the fellowship really is and has been for our group. Something I just want to focus a little bit on is the value that I saw when I walked into the room of other fellows, and something I think is evident today, which is that so many of us are passionate about creating change and encouraging and emphasizing equity in our work, but when we do that work in silos, it can feel difficult, and sometimes it can be hard to see that impact. And to have the opportunity to not only learn alongside your peers about the work that they're doing, but also collaborate with them and problem solve collectively has been truly one of a kind. Something that I think we've heard a lot over the past number of years is the importance of opening doors, and what's most impactful about this program, I think, is that it doesn't just open doors, but it actually gives us a seat at the table. And that's something I know as a Jewish woman and an immigrant is invaluable to me, and something that as a member of the U of M community is more important than ever. So I want to thank the Office of Equity and Transformation for giving us the opportunity to participate in this program, and thank all of you for really supporting the office and the work that they do, and helping students like us not only pursue our academics, but make sure that our values and passions of equity and inclusivity can be not only interwoven into that, but celebrated through that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much to Emily and Kay. And just a reminder, as I'm finding where my next part of the notes are, that we do have booths across the hall. And so if you want to meet with more fellows or learn more about the program, you can certainly do that. So the next part of the program, unfortunately, the student who was going to speak was ill today, so I am stepping in, and I'm going to speak a little bit about the partnering section. And so just to continue along about what does the Office of Equity Transformation do, in addition to leading by providing strategic vision, developing university-wide initiatives, coordinating actions across the UM, and acting internally and externally as the UM lead and representative for equity with the equity portfolio, the Office of Equity Transformation also partners with different units, academic and non-academic, on joint initiatives that have broad impact to implement the strategic priorities. We have many of these, and we can't showcase them all today, but I did want to also draw people's attention to one major initiative under partnering, which is the collaboration with Extended Education for the development of the EDIA Microcertificate and EDIA Foundations course. I see people in here, so I know that are signed up for them. Some of you are very familiar. They also have a booth across the hall, so I hope you'll go and visit so you can find out more. Another major initiative in terms of partnering is with student affairs, and this has been the work that's been ongoing with the office, the vice provost students, and all of the team with student affairs to consider what we might do to better support students and their leadership in areas of equity. And so I wanted to highlight two kind of initiatives that took place over the summer. The first was the creation of the first annual Students Leading Change Conference. And just to give you a sense, this was held in mid-August on a weekend, and over 100 student leaders, elected student leaders of their groups, attended. Then, because we thought that that wasn't enough, and we were like, there are other student leaders who want to benefit from this, the following day, we also organized a student forum specifically on EDIA and anti-oppression. This forum was designed for student leaders who are engaged in equity, diversity, inclusion, accessibility, and anti-oppression work at the university. And again, this was now a Sunday in the middle of the summer. Over 50 students attended. Each of these far exceeded what we thought would happen kind of in the short notice. And I think it's thinking through this kind of partnership, the way that we reach out to students, build the different networks, and build a kind of way of not just partnering with the two offices or the units at the university who oversee this, but actively partnering with students, hearing from them what they need so that they can bring forward their vision and enact their vision of what it looks like to be a vibrant community. And so, well, we had invited Alex Rana, who is a student leader, but also led one of the workshops on intersectionality at the EDIA and Anti-Oppression Forum. He was going to speak to that experience, and I think also share with us more about what it means to be also brought into the educational work. So not just somebody who was talked to, but actually gets to bring that knowledge out. But he unfortunately couldn't join us today. So I'm not going to speak for Alex, so that's for certain, but what I will do is just share a few of the other ways in which partnering with student affairs has led to new initiatives that we hope will really build networks and new partnerships across. Some of these are very informal. Myself and the vice provost students have bi-weekly drop-in sessions that students can come talk to us. We sit in degrees, students drop by, they tell us what they're thinking about so that we don't have to wait until something comes up to hear from students. We do our best to actively reach out to students who we know are impacted by various kind of events, locally, nationally, or internationally through geopolitical moments, so that we can hear better from them and to really understand what that's doing and to build a relationship so that we understand what the issues are. We also, as I talked about with Alex, are looking at ways that we build student facilitators for workshops where we disrupt some of those hierarchies of learning and we think about how lived knowledge and experiences become part of how we all engage rather than assuming that we all have certain given roles. And I think very exciting for me is that we have really begun to build an active dialogue on the relationship between advocacy, activism, institutional work, and how we think through anti-oppression. And this is really about encouraging us all to be able to have kind of a self-reflection about the spaces we're working in, and then how we build the relationships and partnerships so that we can each work in those, because they're all necessary and important, but they're not always the same work. And so really working on that together. And those are some of the kind of fields of partnership that my office has been undertaking with the student affairs and the vice provost students. And with that, I think because that easily flows into this question of community building, we're going to shift over to the way that the Office of Equity Transformation has a role in supporting groups. And For this, I will just flag and sort of highlight two initiatives. We're spending a lot of time working with both Queer, a bit of an umbrella organization, and various 2S LGBTQIA+ student groups, faculty groups, staff groups across campus. Any of the groups that would like to work with us, we are supporting. And I wanted to sort of, give an example of that when in the last year, the Queer Asper Student, I always get the Queer Asper Student Association founded, and they came forward and said, we think there should be a Pride Week when students are actually here. Can we do one in September? And the excitement, enthusiasm, and the ability of our office to be able to support that, I think was a really key moment as they had a vision, and incredibly ambitious and exciting, and they did something that people have been asking for years. And they just said, we're gonna do it, and we are happy to support along with others. One of the other ways that we're supporting is thinking through our obligations in the Scarborough Charter, and particularly addressing anti-Black racism. And so under that is the Promoting Black Flourishing Fund, and I'm going to invite up Shagan, who is a member of that committee.
Good morning. It's great to be here among people. It gives me hope. I'll start with that. I'm glad to stand here before you. First, let me explain. My journey has been long here. Started as a student many years ago, remained connected as a mentor to students, and became a sessional instructor in 2005, and I've been connected to the university since. So I'm standing here because of the experience and the knowledge that I've had over the years, and the invitation of Tina to be on this committee. And I'm going to read from my notes so I don't get carried away. It's great to have this gathering here in Marshall McLuhan Hall. Many may not know this. Marshall McLuhan, Canadian philosophy and media theorist, credited for coming up with the phrase global village. He envisioned the convergence of various media and technologies into one device, which we have today: camera, phone, radio, TV, everything. I think it's fantastic that we're having conversations about various aspects of equity and transformation at the university, understanding the convergence of diverse personas, peoples, languages, cultures, identities, and various academic pursuits in one place, the University of Manitoba. Serving on the university's Black Flourishing Fund Committee was truly a rewarding experience that broadened my perspective in various ways. Working on the community erased some assumptions. Can you imagine I still had assumptions about the Black community? It erased some of my assumptions and helped me understand how Black students and faculty are dedicated to making positive impacts at the university. Our deliberations on the committee wasn't just about funding projects, it was also about understanding, and I put this in bold in my note, motivations and hopes behind each one. It's easy to get carried away just looking at nitty-gritty, but if we miss the importance of the humanity in it, we lose. I truly commend the university leadership for recognizing this diversity and making effort to ensure equity among all. I had the privilege of seeing firsthand the diversity of projects and initiatives proposed by Black students and faculty, each idea, whether it was about enhancing mental health support, creating inclusive learning spaces, or organizing cultural events, showed a unique way in their own and on their own how individuals and groups in the community envisioned building stronger, more supportive communities on campus. The experience helped me see just how varied the needs and assumptions and aspirations, within the Black community can be. I came away with a deep respect for the passion and creativity in various proposals submitted. Actually, I wanted to just say tick, tick, tick to all, but we know we can't do that. We have limited funding. I want to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to the leadership and administration of the university for providing funding that makes such projects possible. The commitment to support Black students and faculty in this way sends a strong message of inclusion and encouragement. Investing in these diverse initiatives, the university not only uplifts individuals, but also strengthens the entire community, creating a more enriched environment for everyone. I sincerely hope that this effort continues, grows, and expands, as ongoing support is essential for fostering long-term growth and lasting positive change within our campus. I say thank you, and I would invite Sarah, my colleague at the School of Art, to come up and take this on. Thank you.
Thanks, Shagun. Hi, everyone. How about this great turnout? So nice to see. My name's Sarah Sarasek. I'm an associate professor in the School of Art, and I am so happy, I was so happy to have been asked to come and speak because the Office of Equity Transformation has supported the School of Art so much, and I'm really grateful for that support. I believe that there has been truly transformative change in the school. I want to acknowledge just more broadly that, of course, there was energy, commitment, belief, and work being done on EDIA, for hopefully forever, for a long time anyway. But in the last few years, and certainly in part because of the creation of the OET, that energy and work, I think, has been harnessed and really amplified and normalized, importantly. So in general, just really big change that I can see in the school. So I want to speak specifically, though, to a few things. Staff from OET led 2 very wanted and successful anti-oppression workshops at the School of Art in 2023. And from those workshops, something that faculty and staff asked for was for the learning and the growth of reflection to continue through a Lunch and Learn series. And so we created the Lunch and Learn series called Rounding Out. And we actually just launched it last month with a land-based event that was led by Professor Brian Rice. It was a big hit, and it was a beautiful event. And not next month, at the end of this month, we are, with support, financial support from the OET's small-scale funding program, we're going to be visiting the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation. So there's some good momentum there. Also, OET staff advised the School of Art administration when they were preparing a statement for the International Day of the Elimination of Racism, and that statement came out in March 2024, and it included an apology for past harms done in the school. And of course, we all know that that kind of acknowledgement is so important in terms of recognizing where we are and in moving forward. And I was really happy to see that within that statement there was a commitment to creating anti-racism policy within the school. Finally, I would like to specifically and personally say thank you to Tina. I see Tina all over the place. She's at our school council. She comes to speak at the beginning of hiring committees that I've sat on, and I'm a representative in Senate, so I see Tina in Senate all the time. And each time that you stand up and speak, I feel inspired and I feel strengthened. And the work that you're doing is just so important in all the ways that we're all mentioning, but I think truly importantly in normalizing this work, this commitment, And the fact that the University of Manitoba hired Tina to lead the OET means so much to me. That really helped me believe in UM's commitment to EDIA initiatives, because Tina is someone who walks the talk. Thank you.
Well, that has me a little taken aback, but I will continue along and just really thank Shigun and Sarah for sharing their experiences with OET in that kind of supporting grassroots initiatives and projects for community building by, for, and with systemically marginalized groups, and thinking about how OET supports and advises units to address specific issues. And you know, I'm really thankful, Sarah, for those comments, but I think I feel the same by almost all of you in this room, the kinds of relationships that really drive the work that we do together, and our ability to kind of, you know, see in each other what we want to see the change, and then, you know, trusting each other and building that. So, you know, I think those are the kind of places of power for the work that we're doing. And so now in the program, we're going to turn to the President's Task Force on EDI. And this is, you know, in some ways the position of the Vice Provost Equity and the Office of Equity Transformation are direct outcomes of the recommendations of the EDI Task Force. And so I'm really pleased to welcome Samar up to the podium to share reflections as somebody who sat on the task force. And that was a lot of work. We know, if anyone's read it, it's a very big set of reports. And also, Samar will get the responsibility, and I hope the pleasure, of officially closing the President's EDI Task Force. Samar.
Thank you so much, Tina, for giving me this opportunity to be standing here today in front of you. Before I move to my official speech, I just want to say I'm really thrilled to see so many of you here. It's a full room. And I have to say that waking up this morning, I felt so privileged and grateful to be part of this country, to be living in Canada. And I'm really, really grateful for being a member of this university who takes EDI so seriously. And I'm very hopeful about this transformation, this transformative path that Tina is leading us on. So thank you all for being here. My name is Samar Safi Harb. I'm a professor in the Department of Physics and Astronomy in the Faculty of Science. And on behalf of the entire President's Task Force for EDI, I would like to take this opportunity to both thank and congratulate UM leadership and our Vice Provost Equity, Tina Chen, and her dedicated team for their progress, significant progress, in implementing key recommendations and setting a strong and transformative path forward. Reflecting on my own experience with the task force, I truly feel thrilled, grateful, and honored to have worked alongside a diverse, multidisciplinary team of truly passionate, empathetic, visionary, and hardworking EDI advocates at U of M, many of whom are here on the President's Task Force. So maybe I can ask you to please stand up if you're on the task force. I know many of you are not here, but I know some of you are here, so can you please stand up so we can give you a big round of applause? I see some of you here. So they're too humble to just stand up. So together we conducted environmental scans and community consultations to understand institutional barriers to EDI and identify critical improvements. This experience has deepened my own appreciation of the U of M's diversity and collective goals. Furthermore, this task, which was conducted during 2019 to 2021, years ago now, though impacted by the pandemic, was actually enriched by it, as the challenges of that time highlighted the inequities faced particularly by marginalized groups in our community. As a scientist who has encountered EDI-related challenges firsthand, I am hopeful more than ever for our direction today. The Office of Equity Transformation has set its goals to, and I quote, dismantle all forms of oppression, reduce barriers to meaningful participation, and narrow inequities to build an institution and community rooted in equity and with a commitment to accessibility, diversity, and inclusion. While much remains to be done on this potentially transformative path, this is a moment to celebrate our collaboration, progress, and UM's commitment to making EDI an institutional priority, guiding our core values and mission for education, research, discovery, and community to ultimately lead the change for a better Manitoba and the world, hopefully. As we look to the future, I hope we all work together to sustain momentum for change, and with the university actively and closely engaging with its community to foster an inclusive environment where everyone feels that they belong and can truly thrive. And last but not least, on behalf of the President's Task Force on EDI, once again, we declare officially the task force to be completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Samar. And I would really just like to recognize once again the commitment, energy, passion, and dedicated efforts of all of the committee members. It was a huge sort of engagement, but I think for all of those who are committee members on the President's EDI task force, that work continued, not only because they themselves were personally dedicated to it, but because many of us kept coming back to it and asking, what was it that you wanted to see here? What was it that you're drawing upon? And so they've really laid that foundation and offered a vision of a different future. And I also want to extend my thanks to all of you who've joined in that work. Some of you were, as Samar said, part of the task force, but who have continued to join in and used it as a way to open doors. And I think we heard that phrase of opening doors and inviting people in. So I am just going to say, let's once again share a round of congratulations for all of us doing that work together. And so now we're going to just kind of wrap up a little bit. And so I first want to thank the presenters. I very much appreciate the time and willingness to share. Many of you have heard me speak on different occasions that I don't take it lightly when people agree to join my office or me in an event or, at the podium, because those asks are really big. They're premised on trust. And they're premised on an idea that people would want to come from here. And I'm mindful that these are often felt as extractive or sort of performative moments where we come forward. And so I just really want to extend my thanks and hope that the trust you put in me and my office in agreeing to come here, that we will continue to stay true to that. So please join me in thanking the presenters. I also, of course, want to express appreciation to all of you who've joined us in person and online. We hope today's program has provided you with a concrete sense of the work that the Office of Equity Transformation has been doing and will continue to do. I hope the Town Hall has also demonstrated how the work of equity transformation is intertwined with work being done by people and units across the entire community. I'm here and my office is hosting today, but it is not only our work, and we can only do the work in connection and collaboration and partnership with all of you. And so I want to I hope we've shown that, and I look forward to opportunities to partner, support, advise, whatever you want us to do, we will be there. There is, of course, as many have said, still so much work to be done. And so I just want to share as well some of the next steps for coming forward and upcoming projects. Many of these, you can look to our website to find them, but I'm very pleased that in the next month or so, you will be seeing all of the results of the Dismantling Ableism survey and action plans that are coming forward. I'm pleased as well about the public classroom initiative that we'll be launching, and Emily Kayla, who spoke earlier, is coordinating that, so really glad to have her assistance. A number of anti-racism learning and strategic initiatives are underway. Plans for affinity spaces and more community building. For those of you who love policy, some of us do really like policy. There is the Comprehensive Equity Impact Assessment Tool for policy creation and review. And upcoming in fall 2025, the Climate Survey will be launched to ensure that we continuously work in ways informed by the lived experiences of diverse community members. So as we conclude our formal program today, we invite each of you to engage with the work of dismantling systems of oppression, advancing equity, and fostering a vibrant community. And so, as you might guess, this is my pitch. There's lots of ways to engage, so we hope you'll be part of them. First of all, if you want to know more about the office, the very lovely postcards that are on the chairs tell you a little bit more of highlights and resources, but and we'll also link you to our web pages where you can find out more about them. But you don't have to go to the website. You can just go across the hall to room 205, where you'll find a vibrant community photo booth. We hope that you will participate. This is one of the ways that we can hear from you about what you think we need to be doing and what would make it a vibrant community. And for those of you who are online or other ways, you can also send written feedback via the QR form on our banners or the QR code that's included in the welcome package for those who are attending online. We will be using this as a way of inviting responses to that question of what makes a vibrant community at various locations across our campuses. So we know that probably changes daily about what your thoughts are, so we want to hear those thoughts and we want to be able to engage. We also hope that people will begin to participate and be involved in the EDIA Communities of Practice, another way that our office partners, and this one's done in partnership with the RADI Office of Equity Access Participation. And so today we'll be taking about a short 10-minute break for more refreshments, mingling, visiting the booths, and then we will be having an in-person community of practice led by Israel Agata, who you also saw featured in the opening video on personal pronouns. And Israel is the creator of a resource on personal pronouns, and we're really happy that Israel could join so that we can begin to continue with our learning in that way. And so this will give you an opportunity if you're wondering, what is a community of practice? Why would I join? This can give you a sense on them, and we'll also be letting people know how to sign up for information. And so also before closing, I want to extend my huge thanks to Marianne Weeb, who probably won't stand up, but I would like you to stand up. Marianne and her team have been absolutely phenomenal in arranging this event, not just for the logistics, but for their patience and their willingness to understand what kind of messaging and vision we want to bring forward. And for me, it was such a sign of the collective engagement of understanding what equity would mean for different spaces and how we can work together to realize that. So thank you to Marianne, her team, events and catering, AV, all of the volunteers, and all of those who made this town hall possible. So please join me in acknowledging and thanking them for their work. And now, the last part of my remarks, just to thank all of you who've attended, both in person and online. We really are grateful for your engagement and commitment in the past, today, and hopefully into the future. And so I sincerely do hope that this town hall has provided an opportunity where we can build community, where we can come together, where it gives us space to think with each other and to energize ourselves for the next steps. We know those next steps will include much hard work, but we also know that by walking together, that work is possible. And so thank you all for coming. Enjoy the refreshments, visit the booths, go to the photo booth, and please, let's take some time to talk together and continue to build community. Thank you so much, everyone.